Hello, everyone. My name is Simon, and today I'll be talking about inflation, why it matters, how we measure it, and what it is. So, what is inflation? Inflation means when prices rise across the economy, not just for one product, but when inflation increases, each dollar buys less than before. So your purchasing power goes down. You now each dollar buys less than before, and when prices rise, you can't buy as much. um, why inflation matters. So, inflation matters because if prices rise faster than wages, people are worse off in real terms. It also affects interest rates and economic decisions. So, it matters to us because the cost of living goes up. Everyone's expenses become more expensive. Your wages, if wages don't keep pace, then purchasing power falls, and then savings and borrowing impacts interest rates and financial decisions. Measuring inflation using the Consumer Price Index. So, economists use the CPI to track inflation. It measures how the cost of a typical household basket of good changes over time. So, a basket of good is this fixed amount of goods that are specific and they don't change. And they measure inf- they track the inflation through this basket of goods over an extended period of time. And the CPI is the most widely used inflation gauge in North America. Okay, let's explain how the CPI works. So, CPI works by keeping the basket fixed. The CPI isolates price changes. Inflation is the percentage change in the CPI from one period to the next. So it's basically just tracking prices from a single period to the next period, and then you find the inflation rate change between those periods. Okay. And then inflation in Canada. So current drivers. This news article explains that inflation in Canada has stayed high due to rising food prices, housing costs, and energy prices, and supply chain issues. So rising food prices, supply distribution, and increased costs. Housing costs, rent, and home prices climb rapidly. They're more expensive, and then energy prices, fuel and heating expenses increase, and then supply chain issues. Global distribution raises costs. So yes, that's how kind of inflation works using CPI and how inflation is in Canada nowadays. Thank you. Have a good day.